king of deals, you can't beat Randy Marion in Statesville.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Hello, this really rainy, dreary Friday. We are here with the Scoop, obviously, with Firewire Dan.
Good morning.
And Mooresville Police Chief Ron Campurciani. We figured that we'll just chat and catch up and get everybody up to speed on how you guys are doing. So first things first, I was talking to them outside just a little while ago. We have our Christmas parade coming up on Tuesday.
Yes, we do.
And we were talking about it last week too, and how hotly debated the Tuesday before Thanksgiving is for the parade. And because I'm born and raised to Iredell County, but y'all were not. And there are more of you guys than there are of me. We're like the no paparazzi, please, anymore. But with the influx of new folks, we're just used to the parade being on Tuesday, but it really, people get really mad. And then the last time we had rain, which I think was 2 years ago, I remember I was covering it for the Scoop. I wasn't planning to, but it ended up being this huge thing because so many people were screaming on the internet, why aren't we having, why don't we have rain day? Why don't we postpone? Why don't we? And people got mad, really mad. So anyway, I'm not sure if that adds to y'all's duties or not, but we were talking outside. I remember growing up that I had several friends who were cops, and it was always that dreaded day of the year. Everybody had to be at work. And tell folks what you were telling me about why we've been able to back off on that just a little bit this year.
Sure. So, yeah, just to go back a little bit, I said the same thing when I first got down here, right?
Uh-huh.
Christmas parade, 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Somebody's got to explain that one to me, right? And
Yep.
but you know what? I think it's analogous to a lot of things, right? You come from other areas. There's certain, just embrace it.
It's quirky, and we love it.
Like, what's the big deal, right? Just embrace it. Or if that's the litmus test, then maybe you need to go back where you came. I don't know, right? So just
It's funny
embrace
hearing
it.
somebody from New England say, go back to where you came from.
Right.
Well, listen, I made it very clear. I had a bunch of friends of mine that said when I first got down there and I was staying, and they said, "Oh, that's, we want to come down there, and you got openings, you have that." And I go, "Geez, I wish you had called me last week because North Carolina closed on Tuesday. So sorry, you can't get in here anymore." But as far as the manpower issue, yeah, so it was, right? And we try to make it easy for people because we know we had to have everybody, not have a day off. But we do our awards banquet that day too. So we do a luncheon and we
okay.
do our awards thing to make it where it's, at least we can feed them. They get we do the awards
That's good.
banquet. So we try to tie it all in, right? This year is different because last year, the town spent a lot of money because we said we needed these things. And so we went out and bought these, well, they're called Meridian Barriers is the company. They're nationwide. I think they're out of California, I believe, but every city uses them to block off streets. If you've seen them, if you've ever been in any cities and they have all these barriers, you can't run through them. You can't drive a car through them. And so with those barriers now, because we block off intersections with them, previously we needed police officers there with their vehicles that were blocking off the intersections. So that was one of the reasons why we had to cancel everybody. So now with the onset of these barriers that we have, it makes it much easier. So this year is actually, because this is the first year we have them, we are able to, I think 1 or 2 squads now do not have to come in. And so we tell them, we still want you to come in for luncheon, right? Come in, and then we'll go watch the parade with your families, right? But come in for a luncheon because you may be part of the awards thing too, right? But it's not a mandatory thing, and it's nice to be able to give them that break. It's part of our business, right? Public safety is what it is. And there's very few times we have to cancel people's day off. We had to do it for the protests we had during COVID and 2020 and all that stuff that was going on then. We had we had the Black Lives Matter group. We had the NAACP that wanted to do walks, which was fine, right? But we had to cancel people's days off because in anticipation of what could happen, right?
Yep.
That's the world we live in, so we understand that. But for something like this, the yearly thing, if we can we're happy that we can find another way now and give people those days off where we don't have to order them to come in now. So I think it's a win for everybody.
How has drones changed your business dealing with crowds compared
Yeah,
to
so drones
without
are, you're gonna see it more and more, right? And you are seeing it more and more, right? And so, and we use a tethered drone for the parade because, Dan, I mean, the flight time is about 30 minutes with these things.
Mhm.
So the tethered drone makes it easy. We can keep that thing up all day. And it gives us, right, eyes that we don't have anymore. We never had before, right? The overview of stuff makes it much easier. And the fire department has run the drones for us for years. That's the way it's done. And I think that's done in a lot of communities. And they've been great with us. They do a really good job at that. But there's that delay of getting them out there and getting them in when we need them. So now that we've gone with this drone for first responders program, that we're actually they are set up. They're on our buildings now. We have them both on the new building and our old building. And there's actually training going on yesterday and today on all our people. It's going to be a little slow rollout with these things. We have to get used to it. But basically now we have the ability where we've designated what calls that we want to send these on. And dispatch just hits a button. It goes up. It flies by GPS. It doesn't have to be flown by an individual. We have the ability to do that, but it goes by the GPS. We get a hot call. Dispatch hits a button. They leave from our roof.
Wow.
Or the other roof. They'll go directly to that location. They can get anywhere in Mooresville in a minute and a half. They fly at about 58 miles an hour. They will beat the cruisers there.
Wow.
And guys will be able to see, they can pull them up on their smartphones. They can see what they're driving into.
Dang.
And so it's a game changer. So this is kind of
Yeah.
the next evolution of drones. I think there's a few places in North Carolina that have it now. And we're getting ready to roll that out. In fact, we've had some, inquiries because we've been talking about this for a long time. We've had inquiries from news media that wants to come out and do a story, and we said, but we're just not ready yet, right? We want to get the things just got up. Like I said, there's training the last couple of days. We've gotten a bunch of people certified as pilots through the FAA, and so
What is the flight time of these versus a traditional drone?
So it's about the same. They're
Okay.
telling you 34 minutes, right, depending on weather. But if it goes from point A to point B, like there's a call and it goes there, it also senses, like, say it's a day where it's rainy or it's windy, right? It knows that, okay, it's going to take me 5 minutes to get back. It'll automatically turn around on its own, go down, dock, change batteries out automatically within 2 minutes, and go back to the
It does
same
it by itself.
does it by
Oh,
itself.
no, that's neat.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep, it's all automated now, and that will be a game changer.
Yeah,
Just
no
the
doubt.
amount of time that we can get out there very quick. Like I said, it'll beat most cars there. Guys have the ability. I love it from the standpoint that they'll be able to see what they're driving into, and then if need be, if, for instance, there's something that happened and their car is involved or whatever, and you see it pull out of a shopping area and heads, the shift commanders now have the ability to fly that drone to follow that car, so they can keep it constant. It's like I said, this is really the next evolution of where the drone program
That's
is.
awesome.
Yeah.
We'll continue with that at the end of this break. Ron, thanks for
Sure.
explaining the drones. We'll be back on WSIC.
Investigative, uncompromising, unafraid. We'll be right back with The Scoop, hosted by Jaime Gatton, only on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, keep the rain gear close by. Chances are you won't need it that much, but a passing shower possible as we go through our Friday. Some extra clouds. Still pretty warm. Our high temperatures in the mid-70s, dropping off into the low 60s overnight. Shower possible Saturday morning, then clearing it out and warm, upper 70s. We'll get a little cooler, dropping off into the upper 60s by Sunday and cooler for Thanksgiving week. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Cakes and cookies, toys and gifts.
The Southern Christmas Show, November 13th through 23rd at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Buy tickets at southernChristmasShow.com, courtesy of Kraft Body Scan.
The Southern Christmas Show.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Join the Hickory Christmas Show to kick off the holiday season in style. Start a new family tradition with a visit to the show on December 5th through the 7th at the Hickory Metro Convention Center. Visit hickorychristmasshow.com for more information. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway begins on Friday and runs through January 4th. The drive-through holiday light show features more than 5 million lights circling the iconic oval, pit road, and infield road course. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for tickets and information on Speedway Christmas. The Fall Frenzy 5K is happening on Saturday at ESC Park in Troutman. This run and walk benefits the Iredell County Crosby Scholars to support college and career access for Iredell students. Runners, walkers, and well-behaved pets are invited. There will be a DJ, food trucks, face painting, games, post-race snacks, and awards. Visit crosbyscholars.org to register and for more information. Ray Everham's 13th annual Americana Live Car Show is Saturday. The show is open to all cars and held at Train Technologies in Davidson. 100% of the proceeds will be donated to the Ignite Community Center to benefit young adults with high-functioning autism or Asperger's syndrome. Visit AmericanaLive.com for more information.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays now through November 23rd. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Stay up to date and find out about local events, job opportunities, real estate information, and more. Visit liveworkplaylkn.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter. That's liveworkplaylkn.com.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Hard questions, real answers. The Scoop continues with Jaime Gatton. WSIC, local starts here.
All right, we are back with WSIC with Jaime Gatton and myself and Chief Campurciani from the Mooresville Police Department. We were talking before the break about this new drone technology that Mooresville PD has installed in the town, and these new drones are affixed to two particular buildings in town, and you're going to be able to send these drones out on specific calls. During the break, you had mentioned that Flock has now bought this particular company, and now it's all being integrated into under the preview of the Flock camera system. So why don't you tell people who aren't familiar, because I even had one of these comments on Firewire yesterday, what's Flock? So I gave my explanation. Let's hear the chief's explanation.
Sure. So Flock basically is a company name, but what we're talking about is we're talking about license plate readers, and that's what we have. And I think right now we have about 70 that are up. When we first put them up, you probably know, Dan, because you were intricate in this, a lot of this stuff is, we had them on like state highways, and we had them on the on and exit ramps. And, Josh Stein at the time, when he was the Attorney General, had put out a cautionary memo about suggesting that they shouldn't be on DOT property. And so there was a lot of places that turned their Flock cameras off. And we didn't do that because I read the memo, and it was more of a cautionary memo than it was anything that we really couldn't do. So we kept ours on. It basically wasn't my opinion that we needed to take them off. But we had gotten ready and prepared to move them if we had to. Fortunately, that was never the case. So since then, we've added them. And basically, license plate readers, they scan through all the plates that drive by. They don't collect the information. They don't collect the data. I know that was some concerns, some privacy concerns, which I get it. Mooresville, now granted, a car can hit multiple cameras, but we cycle through on those Flock cameras about 6.5 million plates a month. That's what we're doing. Yeah, so there's a number of cars. So people are going, I sit on 150 all the time. I know there's 6.5 million cars in Mooresville, right? But what it does is it scan it, and what it hits on, it'll hit on obviously warrants, if the owner of the car is warranted, if the car is stolen, if there's a silver alert on the car, like there's an Alzheimer's patient that has now been a missing person, any of that stuff. will hit, and then it gives us the location, and then our cars go to that location, and it's a myriad of things, right? Stolen cars, weapons, guns, whatever, wanted people, like I said, all that stuff. But we use it a lot. It's been used for, we've had a lot of missing people that we've recovered. We've had some silver alerts, like I said, and the good thing is because Flock is nationwide. I think we had something a few months ago where there was somebody with early onset dementia. It's horrible because my father had that. That had driven away from someplace in Virginia, and they ended up, they don't know where they're going, right? And they ended up in Mooresville, and we were able to stop them and have a conversation. And they actually stopped at like a QT or something, and we were able to find them and get them home. And so it's and we do a ton. We get a lot of those hits constantly. I couldn't even tell you. I mean, it would just be a complete guess, but I'm guessing 15 to 20 a week. I mean, it's just, I had a conversation with the CEO of Flock, and who's up here a lot. He's from Atlanta, and he said Mooresville PD is in the top 1 to 2% of their company for recoveries of guns and drugs and things like that. So
Can
we're
I
getting
ask
a
a
lot.
question?
Sure.
So, and for the benefit of the listeners or viewers, we're gonna get into a couple of more timely, hard-hitting stuff, like the supposed DWI, blah, blah. Let's get into that after a while. But since it flows so naturally here, the high-speed chases.
Mm-hmm.
That's been sort of, that's one of the things on social media that people have talked about. Are those the direct result of the Flock cameras for the most part?
Most of them, yes. Most of them are.
So that's like stolen cars and stolen tags.
Stolen cars, stolen tags, wanted persons.
And so a lot, I don't want to say a lot, I don't want to quantify it, I don't know, but certainly people have their opinion about a high-speed chase.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've actually reached out to you about that before.
Sure.
And you've explained it to me, what all the officers have to jump through. And so can you kind of explain
Sure.
that to people?
Sure. So let me just as a sort of a blanket overview on this too, so you may or may, so I sit on an international board. So I'm on the executive board of the International Chiefs of Police Association. We have meetings all over the world, literally. And this is a discussion that comes up quite a bit. And so we try to use best practices from everybody. That's the reason having a group like this. There was some concern years ago over, chases, and a lot of places were doing away with them. The trend has turned back. But we're just not out there like crazy men and women just chasing these cars down at high speeds and keeping our foot on the gas until somebody crashes, right? We don't want to do that, obviously. And I can tell you that we call off more chases than we continue. And the individual officers have the ability to call it off. And if not, the shift commanders have ability. And they are constantly monitoring. And there's a number of, and Dan hears these all the time. They will continually say where they're traveling, what the road conditions are, what the traffic's like, how fast they're going. That is a continual thing. And if any point somebody in that chain feels like it's unsafe, they have the ability to call it off. Time of day is important, right? We're not going to be going 100 miles an hour down 150 at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Please tell me how.
Yeah, if it's raining and it's stormy and it's slippery, we're not going to go. I mean, none of the things we're chasing for, we're very cognizant of the fact that there is a danger to that, but we're very cognizant of that fact. But we also understand that we have to do our job, and that's just another tool for us to do our job, and we try to do it as safely as we can.
I don't want to give away your technology at Mooresville PD too much, but the shift commanders and the admin staff have the ability to see these chases live. Is that correct?
Yeah, we can remote right in from our laptop or our desktops and see exactly what's going on in real time. We spend a lot of money to have that technology because we want the ability to do that. So there's a number of, to that point, there are so many safeguards built in that we're just not out there chasing around with no oversight, no direction. That just doesn't happen. Like I said, we cancel many more than we do for a number of reasons. And listen, guys don't want to be sliding around on wet weather and doing crazy stuff either. And we try, and now they're very surgical at what they do. So they know if guys will get to places ahead, they know where the car is going. They'll get to the say they're going down 150. They'll get to those exits or on ramps, right? And they'll set up the stop sticks, and they'll throw those out. So if we can blow these tires out and not have a chase, that we do. If we get into a parking lot, so if we can box these cars in, if it causes a little dent or maybe a little bumper car thing, much better than chasing, right? So there's a number of factors that we get into where that stop a chase before it even happens. The ones you hear about are the chases, but there's so many times that these safeguards that we've put in have prevented those chases, right? That's why it was very clear we need to use the cars are tools, right? And they were prior to before this, a couple 3 years ago, there was this cars were treated kind of like sacred cows. I mean, guys they'd have to write stuff up if there was a little dent in the bumper or something. Well, listen, if we're keeping somebody from leaving, or so we don't have to get into a chase, that's important. A car's a tool, and Tracy Jerome, when she came in, that made that very clear to everybody. That listen, these cars are a tool, which is something we've said all along. But when you had people that were overseeing these areas and didn't understand that, it became problematic. And I don't ever want somebody, I don't want a guy to be worrying about, am I going to spend 3 days writing paperwork because I got a scratch on my bumper because I was trying to keep somebody from making a chase? That's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense.
What happens whenever, and I know if I'm recalling correctly, and I might be wrong, but there was a chase, and I think Charlotte called it off. So do each of the towns or the cities that you're going through have the authority to call off a chase?
Sure. I would. I mean, that's a policy decision, but I would assume they would.
Let me interject. They have the ability to say no. We're not going to assist.
Yeah.
But if the chief says no, we're continuing.
You're continuing, override it.
Oh, if it's our chase, we're going.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you're not stopping.
No, we're not.
Okay, that makes sense.
Other than all those conditions I've talked about. If it's not, we're going.
You could care less if
so
an
you
agency
can go
says or
through.
not.
I don't care and we've run into that. And listen, that's their own policies, right? I'm not going to get into that. For whatever reason, they don't. And that's fine. We understand that. And we're dealing with that now. Just move aside.
Let's put something to rest here. Would you ever deny an agency help if they were chasing into Mooresville?
No. And
so there's a distinct difference
There is.
between what you think and what some other agencies might.
And listen, there is, and I'm assuming there is, right? And whatever that policy decision is, whatever they're comfortable doing, that's their business, right?
The funny thing is, Chief, I've heard, Charlotte or Huntersville chasing somebody, and then they get to the county line and stop. You already had officers staged looking for that car, and even though they stopped, you guys took up the chase because they were wanted in another county. And I commend that. I think that's great, and it's allowing police to be police.
Well, we've made it very clear, right, that when you cross over county lines or whatever, you're not going to fall into a black hole or hit a force field, right? It'll be amazing. Your car can still continue to go. So we just go. And like I said, with all those other safeguards we put in, but that's that. And we don't want the word to get out there which I think happens to a lot of people, is just go and just run. They won't chase you, right? And that's just, we're not that place. And I don't see us ever being that place.
The chasing is kind of turned into my bread and butter on the Firewire. And, I post a lot of them. I think it's a public service because, listen, 130, 40 miles an hour could be deadly if somebody were to get hit. So I think it's good to let the public know. And, I commend you guys for doing that and getting criminals off the road. We'll be back, WSIC.
Investigative, uncompromising, unafraid. We'll be right back with The Scoop, hosted by Jaime Gatton, only on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, keep the rain gear close by. Chances are you won't need it that much, but a passing shower possible as we go through our Friday. Some extra clouds. Still pretty warm. Our high temperatures in the mid-70s, dropping off into the low 60s overnight. Shower possible Saturday morning, then clearing it out warm, upper 70s. We'll get a little cooler, dropping off into the upper 60s by Sunday and cooler for Thanksgiving week. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Cakes and cookies, toys and gifts.
The Southern Christmas Show, November 13th through 23rd at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Buy tickets at southernChristmasShow.com, courtesy of Kraft Body Scan.
The Southern Christmas Show.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Harrison's is the home of Work Western, and wow! For nearly 30 years, our family has been boots on the ground when it comes to work. We have the largest selection of in-stock boots in the Carolinas and the best workwear brands like Harriet, Carhartt, and Wrangler. Find us on Norman Station Boulevard in Mooresville.
Jay White here from Centralina Realty. At Centralina Realty, we believe it's all about you. If it's time to sell your home, don't go it alone. Put the team here at Centralina Realty to work for you. Go to CentralinaRealty.com and let's get started.
I'll be honest, I wanted to be a diva. Why feel guilty? Let me help you be a diva for a few hours a week. Yes, I'm Andrea, owner of Spotless Cleaning. Our guarantee? It is very special. If you're unhappy, we'll do it again. Still unhappy? Your fee is donated to a charity of your choice. The Docinho de Coco guarantee. To honor my grandparents, who taught me both a spotless house and time to live life big are important. Spotless Cleaning and C.com.
We're Possum. Fetch, heal, love at Dry Pond Animal Hospital and Pet Resort. From vaccines to vacays, we've got tails wagging and humans smiling. Grooming? You bet. Boarding? Comfy as your couch. Visit drypondanimal.com.
Men over 45, do you have a frequent, urgent need to urinate or a weak flow? Do you suffer from an enlarged prostate or BPH? Want to learn about alternatives to BPH medication and major surgery? How? Talk to a doctor about the UroLift system. The UroLift system is the #1 chosen minimally invasive BPH procedure in the U.S. It uses a proven approach to treating enlarged prostate symptoms that lifts and holds the enlarged prostate tissue out of the way, so it no longer blocks the urethra. No heating, cutting, removal, or destruction of prostate tissue is required. Find rapid symptom relief while preserving sexual function. Call 1-800-858-7070. 1-800-858-7070. That's 1-800-858-7070. Most common side effects are temporary and can include discomfort while urinating, urgency, inability to control the urge, pelvic pain, and some blood in the urine. Rare side effects, including bleeding and infection, may lead to a serious outcome and may require intervention.
Have but one objective.
Honey, can you turn that down?
Ladies,
Honey, can you turn it down?
ever feel like your house is shaking every time your husband watches TV?
What?
Honey, can you turn it down?
That's not surround sound. That's hearing loss. Beltone in Mooresville and Cornelius can help. With expert hearing tests and top quality hearing aids, you can finally enjoy your TV without shaking the whole neighborhood. Visit nchearing.com to schedule your free hearing test today. That's nchearing.com.
It feels good to be needed, and Angels and Sparrows needs you. Our Full Play fundraiser is underway, and your gift brings hope home to Lake Norman. One meal, one child, one family, changed by your gift. Give today at angelsandsparrows.org. Hope starts with you.
Friendly reminder, don't break when you see the lake.
WSIC. Local starts here.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Consumer sentiment falling in November to one of the lowest levels on record. University of Michigan current conditions gauge sliding to a record low, with views of personal finances being the dimmest since 2009. Consumers anxious about the high cost of living and prospect of losing their jobs. Meantime, cheering investors somewhat, New York Fed President John Williams says he sees room for the Fed to cut interest rates again in the near term as the labor market softens. Thanks to the blowout sales of its Zepbound weight loss drug, Eli Lilly has become the first U.S. healthcare company to be valued at $1 trillion, beating Pfizer to the punch and becoming the first non-tech firm to hit that lofty valuation. And Spirit Christmas stores are now up and running, the company dramatically increasing the number of winter holiday-themed stores in the Northeast and Great Lakes. The stores are a spin-off of owner Spencer Gift's Spirit Halloween stores. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
The button pushing stops here.
WSIC. Local starts here. Hard questions, real answers. The Scoop continues with Jaime Gatton. WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back to The Scoop on WSIC. We finished off with Chief Campurciani talking about high-speed chases in through Mooresville, other cities, because our folks will chase
We'll
them.
chase till the wheels fall off.
Yeah. And so, but earlier we had talked, you had told us about one chase in particular, I think through Huntersville. And I know this is it gives the Mooresville Police a plug, which I love to do. So tell us about it.
So yeah, so there was a chase. I can't remember where it started. I think it started somewhere, and it went through Mooresville, and so we're involved in it. And I know that at one point we were involved. Huntersville was there, Cornelius, the highway patrol, because I think they ended up crashing or running into a guardrail or something on 77. So you got all these places around, and two of them took off. They were caught. We had one of our guys and one of the people in the car, and he was sitting there, and he's looking all around. He sees all these cruisers, and he thought he was in Huntersville, I believe. And he saw ours, and he said, "What's a Mooresville cruiser doing here?" And they go, "Well, this is where it started. You're going back to Mooresville." And the kid goes, "Damn, man, I told all my..." He said, "Stay out of Mooresville." I said, "What are we doing in there? I didn't know we were in Mooresville. We would have never come." Well, tell all your friends.
That's kind of the reputation that you want to have, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good reputation to have.
It reminds me of that billboard that was up not too long ago near Costco where it said, "Dear criminals, see you soon."
Yeah.
Love, whatever, MPD.
Speaking of criminals coming to Mooresville, speak about retail crime, upcoming season. My wife picked up a part-time job. She's funding a trip with my son overseas for the school, so she took this particular part-time job at one of the big box stores, and it's amazing just how many retail thefts happen every day at this store. Speak a little bit.
Yeah,
about
so that organized retail theft is really, it's really, and we're not talking about necessarily, even though they get lumped into the same thing, we're not talking about somebody that lives down the street and is going to go grab a shirt out of Sports Academy Sports or something like that. But we're talking about there are organized chains of these people that are going around to state to state to state and doing, and they know a lot of these stores, and rightfully so. Don't get involved. They don't want their people getting involved in things and all that. So they're taking advantage of that. And so we're very cognizant of that thought, and it always ramps up during this time of year. So we'll put stuff out on social media. You'll see it coming out very shortly on reminding retailers to be alert, reminding people to be alert, right? But there is a whole, and the private sector has a whole group of, I just talked to this woman, as a matter of fact, since she brought that up. I was in Denver a few weeks ago, and I spoke to this woman who was talking about organized retail theft, and she works with they're going into different areas in different cities, working on trying to, get the police involved and whatever they need to do and things like that to help with the organized retail theft. And I said, "Listen, I notice you're not in Charlotte area. We would love to get you up here." And she said, "Absolutely." And she works with Lowe's, and so we're going to have that conversation over the next several months because they can do a lot of things from their end that we can't do, and they have their own sort of network and people that they see, and it's it's like everything else, right? The high tech people that we're talking about are going from state to state to state doing this stuff. From the old days back in the 90s with the people with the boosters that used to wear the pants and put stuff down the front, so they're getting more sophisticated now, but they're also taking advantage of a weak, I'd say weak, but a system that they know the retailers aren't going to come after them. They're not going to block them. They're not going to. I mean, when I was a kid, I worked at Kmart, right? Like I used to walk around grabbing shoplifters, right? Those days are pretty much gone because they don't want their people. And I get it. People are getting shot and killed and stuff like that. So I understand it. So they've taken advantage of that. So it becomes more in our responsibility to get that stuff.
It's funny. You go down 150 at night, 8, 9 o'clock at night, and every couple hundred yards, there's a cop just sitting there. And, they could just be sitting there doing paperwork, but in my belief, they're there because they're waiting for that, Target or Kohl's or Belk to call, "Hey, we got somebody in our steal, they're stealing right now," and you're there immediately. Yeah. And a lot of times those will end up in a quick little chase, and you guys will apprehend them.
So when I got here too, we're going to update the system, but long story short, I won't get into all of it, but we put in, the first thing I did was I put in a predictive policing model here, which really wasn't new. It had been out for several years, but basically it uses we take a data back 5 years and we look at trends and where crimes are happening. And now, even though it's to your point about these guys being up in those areas, the data tells us things like, well, at Tuesday night at 2:00 between 2:45 a.m. and 4:30 a.m., there's a 89% chance that Randy Marion's dealership is going to get hit, right? Based on data from going back to 5 years. Now, it's not always accurate, but it gives the officer something to look at and something to rather than just, well, last week I came out of the station, I went left. I'll go right tonight, right? Like it sort of gives them some direction to go. It's not always accurate. It's based on some complicated algorithms, and there's a whole thing with this. But like I said, officers can use that. It's like the old hotspot policing, right? Or the pin mapping stuff, right? It's just a more technology based. So when you see them on a 150, it's probably because there's data that tells them that says, hey, there's a chance that this is going to happen. So let's be out in those areas.
Yep. All right, Jamie, I think you had some things you wanted to talk about. So
the uncomfortable stuff. But you know what?
Yeah, so you buttered me up until now it's going to start getting hard.
No. I feel like there's so much material that we could talk about, and you're so easy to talk with anyway. But cutting to the chase. The mayor was in here, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago? Yeah. And was responding to, it was a news report, right? That came out about this supposed, I remember. Was it the PBA attorney that came out and said that they wanted the state to investigate this, or SBI or something, and that was what the story was. So the mayor came in hot. I mean, there's no other way to really describe him. Responding to that because it was basically like the next day, I think. So anyway, the nut of the story is that you guys were on the road late at night, and you pulled him over for a DWI, and then, excuse me, then you and the DA destroyed evidence. Mm-hmm. So can you finally put that baby to bed?
Yes. Thank you for asking. And I said this to David Hodges. He came in maybe a few weeks ago and wanted to do the same story. And I'll start it with the same thing I told him. This was not a story 22 months ago. It's not a story now, but it's something that's out. And it's really amazing to me how much rumors factor into things.
It's freaking wild.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. And so I've seen the investigative report. I read what was said in there right from what the investigators found. But I will tell you, this is really very simple, and it's ridiculous because then people are going to make up their own minds.
Right? They will.
And there's nothing I can do about that, right? Read the report. It's my personal record. If somebody wants to come in and see it, I'll let them see it. I have nothing to hide. It is what it is. And I've always said to you and everybody else, you can't ask me a hard question, right? Just ask me.
You are like that, and you're very, you've always been very, I don't want to say easy to interview, but from day one, you have never shied away from a question.
And listen, we're going to do things wrong sometimes, and we're human, right? We're going to disappoint people from time to time. But there's other times when stuff is just taken, and I don't know if it's where it's coming from or who starts it or all this nonsense, but it takes on a life of its own. But anyway, to answer your point, really simple. So what had happened was,
we're going to only have 30 seconds left.
Well, why don't we wait till we come back?
That's what I was thinking. We'll go ahead and wrap for now.
Yeah, so, I mean, just like I said, the overview is very quick. It's amazing how a rumor, somebody that started that, blows up into this thing where people are investigating it, and people have bought into it. And people that should have known better or did know better have used it for their own sort of try to do their personal gain.
And a lot of it is social media inspired. Let's take a break, and we will be right back to finish this one up.
Local starts here.
Well, keep the rain gear close by. Chances are you won't need it that much, but a passing shower possible as we go through our Friday. Some extra clouds. Still pretty warm. Our high temperatures in the mid-70s, dropping off into the low 60s overnight. Shower possible Saturday morning, then clearing it out and warm, upper 70s. We'll get a little cooler, dropping off into the upper 60s by Sunday, and cooler for Thanksgiving week. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Join the Hickory Christmas Show to kick off the holiday season in style. Start a new family tradition with a visit to the show on December 5th through the 7th at the Hickory Metro Convention Center. Visit hickorychristmasshow.com for more information. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway begins on Friday and runs through January 4th. The drive-through holiday light show features more than 5 million lights circling the iconic oval, pit road, and infield road course. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for tickets and information on Speedway Christmas. The Fall Frenzy 5K is happening on Saturday at ESC Park in Troutman. This run and walk benefits the Iredell County Crosby Scholars to support college and career access for Iredell students. Runners, walkers, and well-behaved pets are invited. There will be a DJ, food trucks, face painting, games, post-race snacks, and awards. Visit crosbyscholars.org to register and for more information. Ray Everham's 13th annual Americana Live Car Show is Saturday. The show is open to all cars and held at Train Technologies in Davidson. 100% of the proceeds will be donated to the Ignite Community Center to benefit young adults with high-functioning autism or Asperger's syndrome. Visit AmericanaLive.com for more information.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays now through November 23rd. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Stay up to date and find out about local events, job opportunities, real estate information, and more. Visit liveworkplaylkn.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter. That's liveworkplaylkn.com.
Sip, savor, and smile at Patisserie Cafe in Mooresville, where buttery pastries meet bold coffee and bright conversation. Enjoy breakfast and lunch all day, Monday through Saturday, 8 to 3. From crepes and empanadas to Cuban sandwiches and cakes, there's something for everyone. Visit patisseriecafe.com.
Kane Center for the Arts. We're more than a venue. We're the heart of creativity in the Lake Norman region, bringing exceptional visual arts, performing arts, and unforgettable gallery experiences to our community. Discover the difference. kanearts.org.
Hard questions, real answers. The Scoop continues with Jaime Gatton. WSIC, local starts here.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having us on the radio today to WSIC 1400 AM and all the other channels that they have. We're going to go right back to Ron. He was telling us about the traffic stop that everybody's all hot to trot about between him and the mayor. Go ahead and finish your comment.
Yeah, so what happened was this was back in January of 2024. Sarah Kirkman was having a fundraiser up at the Saddle Club in Mooresville. And so I stopped up there, and there was a bunch of people there. Like, she had a really good crowd, good for her. And I think the mayor was running it, and Gray Mills, I believe. I don't know, but there was cops, DAs, politicians, right? It was just packed. And I had seen the mayor talking, about Sarah, and so whatever, stayed there for a little while and then left. Never got a chance to talk to the mayor because there's just so many people there.
Yeah.
And so I was leaving, and I pulled up to a light, and stopped, and the mayor's car pulled up next to me. I just happened to look over, and I saw him, and I rolled down my window. I waved, and he went, "Hey!" And so he waved, and then the light turned green. And he pulled up the road. Well, he pulls over on the side of the road, and I went, "Oops!" So I pulled behind him. But now, it's interesting because if he had pulled into a parking lot, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But he pulls over, and he starts to get out of the car. I'm kind of like, "Oh, geez," right? So I threw my lights on because we're on the side of the road and it's dark out, right? So I got out. He gives me a hug. He goes, "Hey, were you just there?" "Yeah." Right. The conversation is probably 20 seconds. Well, just is interesting because contemporaneous with that, one of our cruisers was coming the other way and saw me with his lights on. So he hit his lights and kind of turned around because, as Jamie knows, that was the first thing I did when I got here. We need two people at these car stops after the Jordan Sheldon thing, right? So now it's ingrained in them. So he saw me out, and when he turned around, so the mayor, Chris and I gave each other a hug, talked for 10, 20 seconds, and then he was getting back in his car. And then I just waved the cop off like we're all set. And we got into our cars and we left. That was it. That was the whole crux of that stop. There was nothing more to it. And then all of a sudden it became, I've heard all these stories that I stopped the mayor, he was drunk. We let him go. We gave him an escort home. I erased the body cam video from the stop. All of this nonsense that it just kind of took on a life of its own. So it went, and then so it just, these stories started to grow and grow and grow. And oh yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous. So they did an investigation. So ISS did an investigation on it,
And you
they
guys
took,
did an internal too, right?
no, we hoofed it off to
Okay.
ISS, and because I think it was me and the mayor, so they put
Bit
it
of a
off to
conflict, yeah.
ISS. Yeah, so whatever. I mean,
I'm thinking about a whole different story. Keep
yeah.
going.
So anyway, that's it. And so when
Let's ask you this: did you activate your front lights when you were on the side of the road of the mayor, or just your rear?
no, I
lights?
just hit one button. I'm not really. I know there's different ones. I
Yeah.
just hit one where they all go
Okay,
on.
so
I'm not that in
just your
depth
rear
with
lights
writing the
then. Yeah,
lights.
yeah.
Yeah. So
One switch.
whatever it turned on, man, it turned
So
it
you
on.
didn't
Right?
pull them over because you had no front lights
No,
activated.
it was just hey. But like I said, if he pulls into a parking lot, we're not. But please, I know enough. We're in the side of the road. It's
Yeah.
dark. I don't want to get rear-ended, especially when he's walking out of the car, right? So anyway, so we go through this whole investigation stuff, and I was talking to the ISS investigators, and I explained that to him. He goes, oh, and I go, listen, I don't want to play a game of semantics, but this was not a stop.
Yeah.
And I explained, he goes, no, it would be like if your car broke down on the road and you put your hazards on, right? I go, exactly,
Yeah.
right? So, and all this stuff, they checked, they went through, or they brought some expert, I don't know who it was, they brought an independent person in to go through the body cam video, and they talked to the person that it turned on. He goes, no, I flipped it on and flipped it off. It was literally a second because the chief waved me off, and he says he's okay. We just left. I'm not going to go over there and question the chief.
Which happens all the time,
Yeah, it
even in
happens.
regular
No
law
big deal.
enforcement.
But they did all that. They checked all the body cam. Nothing was there. Nothing was ever erased because there was nothing to erase. I don't even know how to do that, to be honest with you, because that's not something I do.
Well,
Yeah.
doesn't it upload like automatically?
It does. It
to,
does.
to a
So if
cloud
it
or
was
something?
there, it would be there, and it has a thing, and you would know who went in, who looked at it, who erased it, all that nonsense.
So let's put a few things to rest here. So you went to BLET maybe a year before I went through BLET. What year did you come here?
19.
Oh, so 2 years before me. So you were certified as an officer in Massachusetts. You came down here. You had to take the bridge course and to get your certification here, which
Right.
means you took certain classes here in North Carolina. You took the state test. You passed. You became a certified officer here. Now, what a lot of people don't know is a lot of things law enforcement does, you have to take extra courses for to be able to do that type of law enforcement. And DWI is one of those things. So in order to do a DWI arrest in the state of North Carolina, you have to be certified to do DWI. It is an actual week or two course. You have to take a test. You have to do a practical, the whole nine. Have you, Chief Campurciani, ever taken that course in the state of North Carolina?
No.
So you cannot arrest nor investigate DWI in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah, not if I wanted to hold up in court. I can't.
There you go. That puts this to rest. I think WBTV, who did this atrocity to the town of Mooresville, including the mayor and yourself, should learn a little bit about the laws in this state before they get on TV broadcasting to hundreds of thousands of people BS that they could have investigated themselves and realized it was a non-story, because you can't do that.
Can you administer a breathalyzer?
No, I have no idea how to do that. So let me just say, and I appreciate that, Dan, but let me just say something, because I think it's important what the investigators found. Now, this is coming from my personal, so that I can tell you about this because it's it was the investigation done with me. And I read it, and I told the guy from whatever TV station is from that asked me about this stuff. It's clear in there, and it says in there, the complainant was asked, did you see anybody at this fundraiser that was under the influence of alcohol? He said no. The person said no. Again, and then it says in there, the complaint was asked, did you specifically see the chief or the mayor or any other police officer or any politician that was under the influence of alcohol? Now, personally, because there were so many people there, I would have said, oh, I have no idea. I'm not there to monitor. But the complainant said, absolutely not.
This is the guy who said that there was a DWI
Yeah,
stop.
absolutely not. I didn't see anybody there. Then this person was told what day they were, like, where this event was, because that person was also there
At the event?
at the event. The complainant is all it says on my thing, says, oh, If I had known that was the one we were talking about, I would have never filed this complaint in the first place. That's what it says. That's what this whole thing has been nonsense.
Nonsense.
Absolute nonsense. If we weren't on the air and in the parking lot, I'll call it something different. But for purposes of the FCC ratings, I'll call it nonsense. This is just craziness. It really
All right.
was.
I think we could put that to rest. I think we proved without a shadow of a doubt that you did not pull the mayor over for DWI. You are not going to risk your certification and your probably great salary that you get from the town of Mooresville for a simple DWI arrest. That's going to be contested in court by the mayor anyways, because he wasn't drunk. So let's go off to some rapid fire questions that I have thought about to ask the chief. We have about 2.5 minutes. So there's been talk, and I was able to confirm through your budget that the town of Mooresville is funding their own comm center for the fire department, and you're wrapping up on bringing in dispatchers for fire dispatch. Right. Is that happening, and what is the timeline for that?
So we're putting it into the budget for FY27, which will be next July. And now whether or not
26 or 27?
Well, we're in 26 now because you're always a year behind. So it'll be FY27 because it starts in July and goes into
Fiscal year.
27 for fiscal year. So it's going to be in the budget to bring in fire. We're hoping that we can get it up and running on July. Now, whether that's accurate or not, it's probably not, but it's in the budget. So it'll happen sometime, probably more realistically, probably about the fall of next, probably third quarter of next year.
Okay. One near and dear to my heart, because that's what I do for my business, is I listen to law enforcement, I listen to fire departments. What is your encryption policy coming with the new Viper system that you guys are switching to?
So one, Viper is the switchover is supposed to happen in January. That's what we're being told.
Okay.
And as far as what we're going to encrypt, we're obviously not going to encrypt our main channel because that's just dangerous on a whole bunch of levels. And we could have a half-hour conversation on that. The channels that we are going to equip is our SRT channel, our special response team, our narcotics channel, and our conference channel in case there's, the investigators, something.
So pretty much what's already encrypted today.
Exactly.
Okay.
Nothing else.
All right. We already talked about flock cameras, and I think that was really what I had. You answered the Viper changeover already. Quick little story for everybody. We got about a minute left. One of the big things that Chief and I met on, when he first came here, he asked to meet with me, and we had a nice meeting in your office. But we had only talked on the phone prior to that. And one night I was out running at like 2, 3 in the morning in my neighborhood, and a guy stopped me saying that there was a guy breaking into a car. Well, I said, did you call 911? He goes, dude, I don't even know the name of the street. I just literally moved here. So I called MPD for him, and it turns out you guys were coming up 115 to my neighborhood and spotted the description of the car that I had provided from this neighbor. And, that car you guys started chasing that car. It turns out that guy then put a gun out the window and was firing at you guys down 77. And, one of the things that we talked about it afterwards, you said, Dan, how does a simple property crime go to an attempted murder of an officer? And that just shows how much crime is on the move. This is stuff that you would only see in Charlotte, 10, 15 years ago. This stuff is quickly moving its way up 77 into our neighborhoods. All this technology that you guys have put your money into and our tax dollars into is so beneficial to us. We thank you for coming in today, showing us what the technology and all the great things that are happening in Mooresville are doing with the PD. We hope to have you back to continue this conversation. We thank you.
Thank you.
WSIC.
Thanks.
Serving you better than ever before.